Welcome to today's live event. I've got a lot of exciting material prepared for you, along with Mackenzie, who is here. And we're not only broadcasting here in Zoom, but also in LinkedIn and in Facebook. So my Facebook friends, please drop a hello there in chat. We've got somebody over there in Facebook. And hey, if this is your first time with us, go drop the word new in chat, whether it be in LinkedIn or in Zoom or in Facebook. I want to know if you're new. This is a series that we're doing live every Friday around how to help you market and sell and lead through these tough times that we're in. And we're talking specifically about OptiChannel, social marketing and selling. And we're trying to bring you people who are actually in the foxhole, if you will, people who are practitioners of this stuff to help you understand how you can use it to build your business and grow your sales and leads. This is for specifically today, we're really talking to our agency friends, those of you who are commercial printers, but you could be a B2B, B2C organization of any type and find value in today's material. But really, we're going to be focusing on our agencies, our marketing service providers, our commercial print friends, and anybody in those organizations who leads, who is in sales, or who is marketing for their organization or on behalf of their customers. So I see Pam is new. Michael says definitely not new. Kevin is new. Michael is new. Over there in LinkedIn, let me know if you're new here with us. We're obviously live. That's why I'm mentioning your names on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Zoom. Mackenzie, if you don't mind, drop my cell phone number in there. Folks, if you want to text me, shoot me a little message right now. Say, hey, I'm live with you on LinkedIn, Zoom, or Facebook. If you want to be connected, we regularly send out information, insights, leads for some of you, and we text that out. We found that that's often the best way to get information quickly out. Sometimes emails get lost. LinkedIn notifications aren't always that great. So if you want to connect with me, go ahead and text me. And then I'll give you one other little insight here. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, let's do this. I bet you all have your cell phones nearby. Go grab your cell phone. I did this last week, surprised a lot of people. Grab your cell phone and open up your camera app, right? Just like I'm doing here, and point your camera at that QR code there on the screen. A little bit of value here for some of you. Go grab your camera and tell me what happens. Tell me what happens. This is something you can show your clients, especially today in this touchless society that more and more organizations are having to move towards. The fact that QR code readers are now built into your phones, something that's really, really powerful for many of you. So Michael, yeah, Glenn says it opened up your LinkedIn page. So connect with me, folks, if you're not yet connected on LinkedIn. But take a look at that. That's something that not a lot of people know. In fact, let me ask you, how many of you knew you could do that? Was that new? Who was that new for? If it was new for you, let me know there in the chat. Think about how you could incorporate this now on direct mail, billboards, signs, different things that you're creating on behalf of your customers. This functionality is built into most modern phones. All right, cool. Looks like that's new for some people. Michael says, I know someone that makes bamboo business cards with QR codes. That's cool. Awesome. All right. So, as I've mentioned a few times, folks, today's discussion is specifically for you in our community. If you're a print organization, an agency, a marketing services company, and are looking to offer OptiChannel digital campaign services to your clients. Many of you already are, or some of you are in some phase of the offering and want to get to the next level. But before I jump in, let me find out how many of you are identifying with being a printer. How many commercial printers do we have here? Drop the word print in the chats. So Facebook, LinkedIn, or Zoom if you're a printer. How many of you identify your organization as being an agency? If you're an agency over there in LinkedIn or in Facebook or in Zoom, tell me if you're an agency. And then maybe some of you might identify with being more generally called a marketing services company. If that's you, let me know. And then if I miss something, I see print and signage, I see printer, agency and creation, marketing services company, printer hybrid, MSP, says Paul. Oh, I know Paul. There's Paul. Stephanie over in LinkedIn says print. I see some agencies. If your company is something else, let us know there in the chat. Amy says marketing services was a printer. There you go. Cool. Our goal, folks, today through this discussion, by the end of our time together, I worked hand in hand closely with Mackenzie to prepare this material. And our goal for you is we want you to have significantly more knowledge than you do right now coming into this around how you can take your OptiChannel and digital services offering to the next level as you're offering it to your clients. Maybe, for example, you're gluing different solutions together right now and you're wondering, is there a better way? Or as you all came in, we asked you that question when you signed up. A lot of you are wondering, am I charging for this correctly? How are other organizations doing this? And so we want to cover these questions and many others. I've brought Mackenzie back on the show today. So Mackenzie, say hi to everyone.
Hi, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. One thing I just want to quickly note is that obviously this session is all about how you as a service provider can bring more value to your customers, right? How you can sell more, offer them OptiChannel. But if you are a B2B or a B2C marketer, and that again also applies to the agencies and printers, you also are a marketer yourself for your own business, right? So I want you to not be boxed into this thinking that this is only for agencies. I want you to just think about that this framework we're going to teach you and step you through is something that's applicable to all businesses. So we're super excited to have you, and please keep it interactive. We see you on the chat and in the Q&A. So we'll get to all of you. Hazel, I saw you. Thanks for joining us from Anaheim.
So Val is saying they're a printer, large format, direct mail, e-commerce, social media, match, Facebook, Instagram, Google ads. So perfect. Exactly who we're, yeah, you hit them all right there. So Mackenzie, the reason why I brought Mackenzie back on the show again today, first of all, as you all know, she's an incredible wealth of knowledge. If you've ever interacted with Mackenzie before, drop an X in the chat. If you know she's always giving away value left and right, drop an X in the chat, give her a little love. But Mackenzie, you get to work with so many of our commercial print clients, partners, with agencies, marketing services companies, really around the world. And I see you on the front lines working with folks day in and day out. And I know that you have your finger on the pulse in terms of what's changing and what folks are looking for. So in a few minutes, we're going to get to the questions that I've pulled from the audience. And you'll need to think on your toes and be quick, as you always are. And then men and women, as you're in these chats and you're hearing something Mackenzie says or a question that I ask, if there's something on your mind, please raise it, drop it in the chat, and we're going to get to it. All right. We want to make sure we offer as much value as we can in the time we have together. Now, we always give you a gift. For those of you who stay to the end, we're going to send you an exclusive set of links to 2 deep dive discussions, 2 deep interviews that we did with 2 innovative companies that I think will be very helpful to you. One is a printer. So for the print folks that are here, this is going to be of interest to you. And the other is an agency. And both of those organizations have learned to embrace OptiChannel, not only for themselves, but also they've learned how to sell it to their customers and how to do that successfully. And they do it differently. And so I think it's really interesting to be able to see 2 different kind of vantage points on how to do this. You can hear multiple angles. So if that's helpful to you, stay to the end and we'll make sure you get that. And you'll be able to look at that over the weekend and enjoy more learning as you get into your journey here. All right. So as we start, Mackenzie, I'm going to bring you on in just a second, but I want to talk about something that underlies everything that we're going to be discussing today before we get into the interview here. Before we get into kind of some of the tactical minutia, I want to step back and talk about the macro, as you like to say, Mackenzie, of what's happening, what we're seeing across thousands of printers, agencies, B2B, B2C organizations. And it's really important. I think it's really important. If you're leading your company right now, who are the leaders in here? Drop the word leader. If you're leading your organization or leading a team, drop that in chat, wherever you are. For my leaders, this is important because you need to be looking around the corner. You need to be planning for what's coming. And the actions that you put into place today, the things that you do now, is what's going to help you be ready when that future becomes the present. Now, if you're in sales, who are my sales folks here? Drop the word sales wherever you are. If you're in sales, if you're in business development, you probably resonate with the idea of, hey, I need to have new things to bring my clients, right? I need to have new ideas. I need to have fresh, exciting examples of what I can do to help them, new insights, new ways to help them meet their goals. And so if that's you, this session is going to give you those kinds of insights that you're looking for, some new ideas. It's always good to be able to bring new things to your clients. It helps you deepen the relationship you have with them. It opens up new doors. You all know this, right? And then some of you I know are actually building campaigns, building OptiChannel campaigns. If that's you, put that in the chat. Say, hey, I build campaigns. And if you're using technology to make that happen, you're probably seeing that there's just so many new channels that are coming your way. And it's not always easy getting all those to work together, right? So you have a job that requires always learning what's coming up, learning new things. And so that's why we think it's really important to kind of give you the backdrop for all of you, no matter where you are in the organization, to understand what's happening here, because something really important is coming together. I know it sounds cliche, but the world has changed. It's very simple, but it's also really profound in the implications on all of you as printers, agencies, marketing services providers. It's profound because as companies, heck, even as people who have a message to share, who have a message to communicate, things are different. And the change that we argue is predicated on this notion of what we call OptiChannel. And it starts very simply with the understanding that producing content correctly is the easiest way for everyone to reach their goals. Now, you might think, wait, that's the change? What do you mean? Why do you say this, Dave? I'd argue that whether you're in print, whether you're looking for a job or looking for love, I found this as I was preparing for today's material. Look at this. Somebody created a billboard, right? Looking for his next wife, exclusive VIP event, June 7th. Even has a girl, a generic URL on there. That's content, right? This is how you get your message to people. This is true for you. This is true for your clients. I was pulling that image and I came across this one. Thought it was hilarious. This kid gets it, right? DateBraden.com. If the millionaire doesn't work out, here's your chance to settle for much, much less. So he created this content along with the URL to piggyback off the other guy. Actually, somebody here should probably hire this dude. He's pretty bright. But you get the idea, right? Let me build on that thesis, this idea of content, producing content and sharing it daily on the small number of platforms, channels that matter right now is the easiest way for you and for your customers to achieve the goals that they have. And you might be thinking, daily, the heck are you talking about? How could I possibly do this daily? Well, I want you to think about this for a second. There's 3 trends right now that are impacting printers, agencies, marketing services companies, almost all types of organizations. Trend number 1 is that your customers, your prospects are busier than ever. They don't respond to sales calls. They don't respond to your emails. They don't ask you to meet and share new ideas, right? This is a trend that a lot of organizations are facing right now. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can resonate with that. LinkedIn, Facebook, Zoom. Oh, you were giving me a 1, Mackenzie?
Literally giving you a 1. Yeah.
Okay, giving me the finger.
That's what.
Trend number 2 is, as much as we like to think that our customers remember everything that we can do for them, right? All of the services that we have, they simply don't. How many of you find that your customers are placing orders with your competitors for services and products that you offer? In fact, sometimes things that you've given them in the past, that you've serviced them with in the past. Drop a 2 if that resonates with you. Drop a 2 in the chat, wherever you are. And then thirdly, and this is true, I'm speaking honestly to many of my commercial print friends here, but it's true for all organizations. Customers don't view you as innovators. They're not asking you for your input on new, important projects that's important for their growth.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's really important to keep in mind, that because of the internet and because of the access that we have to one another, sales professionals are no longer gatekeepers to learn about your product or service or industry. This is something that I heard a while back that really profoundly stuck with me. You know, previously, when you didn't have access to such information that's rapidly changing, let's say you were going to buy something, right? You would have to ask the sales professional, hey, can you get me information about this? Can you tell me about this? But that's no longer applicable, right? And so, as Dave mentioned here, customers don't view you as an innovator. You want to become a value add innovator that the people that you're talking to want to come to you for information, because you're adding on to what they can find on the internet, right? You're bringing them new ideas, new concepts, the latest trends, things that they can tap into. And that's really what this session is about. How can we help you go from where you are today to learning about all the brand new changes that are affecting and impacting your customers' ability to get in front of their customers, stuff that, you know, is brand new, so that you can become closer to them by being viewed as an innovator. Because when you do that, you are someone that's indispensable. It's not indispensable. They want to come to you to actually get that knowledge, and that allows you to, you know, build that relationship with them.
I see our friend Kimberly Bentz over there in LinkedIn. It's great to see you, Kimberly. I see Amy adding on top of what you just said, Mackenzie, and what we just talked about here is that our clients, our customers are getting comfortable with what we do, so they don't ask anymore, right? And as you're saying, Mackenzie, the salesperson is no longer that gatekeeper. So if that's true, if these trends are impacting our ability to generate new opportunities for print, let's say I'm personalizing this specifically to my print friends here, but it's true for any type of organization, what's the answer? Again, and what we're arguing today is that producing content and the way we're going to be talking about today and sharing it in the places where your customer has attention is the easiest way for you to reach your goal. And if you're saying, well, how do you do that? Whether you're a print business or if you're thinking about how to do this for yourself as a salesperson for your own organization, as you think about not only communicating your message, but also helping your clients do the same, here's what it looks like. The framework is, I like to say, intoxicatingly simple. Number one, figure out how you best communicate for your organization or for your customer. That could be words, that could be video, that could be audio, pictures, right? Figure out the modality that's best for you or for your client if you're running them this kind of service. Number two, understand that the value that content brings must align with the needs and the interests of the consumer. It often has very little to do with your selfish desires. So the intent, the reason behind why you're communicating needs to focus on your audience. I know that sounds cliche, but it is much easier said than done. And that's where the opportunity is, folks. When you really double down on that idea, incredible things happen. Number three, you need to produce multiple pieces of content per day, and you need to contextualize that for the platform or the channel. So in other words, the message that you have that you communicate out through direct mail needs to be contextualized differently for email, differently for Facebook, differently for Instagram, differently for LinkedIn, TikTok. You get the idea, right? Mackenzie, you want to add something onto here?
Yeah, what I was going to say is sometimes people, when we teach this, they say, well, give me a little bit more of a tangible example. And this is an example that I heard that really resonates. So hopefully it helps clear it up for all of you. So think about yourself when you're at a social gathering. Think about yourself when you're at work. Think about yourself when you're at the doctor's office, right? It's still you, but you may be acting a little bit differently in all of these different settings, right? That's a natural thing. There's, when you're out with your friends, you're having fun. When you're at a doctor, maybe you're more reserved and quiet, whatever it is, right? And so that's exactly what we want you to think about when we talk about contextualizing the platform. People are in a different frame of mind when they visit these channels, when they are in TikTok, when they are in LinkedIn, when they are in Facebook, when they are on Reddit, when they're on YouTube. There's still them, right? But they're a little bit different. They're thinking about what they're expecting to see differently. And so what we're encouraging you to do is when you share that content on these different platforms, to again, think about the recipient, the frame of mind they're in, and slightly tweak or change your message or your content to keep that in mind, right? And one easy tip, if you're not really sure where to start, if you're producing video and you're sharing it, all you need to do is, hey, LinkedIn, super excited you're here. Hey, Facebook, super excited you're here, right? You've contextualized that. You've made them feel like, oh, I'm in the right place.
And then lastly, learn to siphon. That's a strange word, and you're wondering, how does that pertain to marketing here? But what it means is you need to learn the strategies for taking those conversations, those engagements that are happening across these optimal channels. I'm going to tell you more about what I mean there in a second. And you need to learn how to engage those folks. If you're doing this for your customer, you need to learn how to do it for them and bring this in as a lead. And that's it. This is what the model looks like in a picture, okay? Choose words, video, or audio, the modality of communication. Provide extreme value in the content you're producing. Broadcast it multiple times per day. And I use the word tribe here to mean where your customers' tribe is hanging out, or if you're doing this for yourself, where your audience is. So where they are, where they're present, where their attention is high, and where the cost to engage organically is low. That could be direct mail, that could be email for some of you, that could be ringless voicemail, that could be SMS, that could be Facebook, that could be LinkedIn. We're going to help you understand the nuances of these platforms, how they're relevant right now. But the basic idea is get that content out multiple times a day and then learn how to siphon engagement. Now, When I talk to people about this, I often hear excuses when they see these strategies. I can't do this, or I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. And so consider this for a moment. Think of it like this. If you could go back in time and buy that little shanty, is that a word, Mackenzie? Shanty? Shack?
I think so.
Right? If you could buy that little plot of land right there, if you go back in time and buy that, today, it's worth this. That's the same opportunity you have with this strategy and these channels. Right now, LinkedIn is like that little shanty, if that's even a word. Make the investment now. It'll pay dividends in the future. What I mean is, LinkedIn has incredible organic reach right now, meaning you literally have the capacity to get your message out in front of a stadium full of people, even if you don't have very many followers or connections. Actually, Mac, I hope you don't mind. I pulled this example. 891 followers. This is for you, Mackenzie. Actually, this was a little while ago, right? Before you had changed your last name. Still you, same person. 891 followers. Look at the views that she had, folks. 85,306. You see that? So anybody who's making the excuse saying, hey, I don't know how I'm going to tie what I'm doing in direct mail with email and LinkedIn because my client doesn't have a big LinkedIn presence, or I don't have a big LinkedIn presence. Folks, the opportunity right now is one where LinkedIn is providing significant organic reach. The key is you got to provide value. That post that Mackenzie that you did provided value. You have to provide value to your client's client or to your client. And that's often a mind shift, a change that you have to make inside your own mind. Now, let me personalize this to my print friends, okay? Delivering value that I'm talking about here is the difference between a message like, hey, hire us. We've got these cool indigos, which, by the way, indigos are incredible works of innovation. But in contrast to a message like that, what if you were creating content, white papers, videos, posts, LinkedIn, TikToks, giving value away, like 7 things you need to know when picking your next print partner, right? That's a silly example, but you get the idea, the difference between the two. Mackenzie, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I was going to say that if you're not sure where to start, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of an advocate. That's something that I really try to focus on. How can you be an advocate for your clients and for your clients' clients? Meaning, think about, what can I share for my client? What content can I produce for my client that's going to help their clients in evaluating whatever, fill in the blank, whatever that product or services that your clients are offering and that you're offering. You need to try to advocate on their behalf by providing them information that helps their job, that helps their evaluation, that helps whatever they're trying to do it better, get the information, not have to go search on Google and find all the articles and decipher what's applicable, right?
So LinkedIn, Facebook, Zoom, give me a yes in the chat if you're resonating with what we're talking about here. Are you understanding? Are you seeing what we're laying down? Give me a yes in the chat. I know many of you employ direct mail as an example for your clients. So let me clarify something. I'm talking about digital a lot, right? But I'm not saying that you exclude direct mail. That's not the point. I'm not saying that you do SMS instead of email. I'm not saying that you do LinkedIn instead of Facebook. I'm saying you have to go where the attention of your consumer is. You have to focus on that. Even men and women, this may offend some of you, even if you're not on that channel, even if you don't know how to use LinkedIn, don't let that be an excuse. You got to break through that. You have to focus on where their attention is, and you got to work backwards. So that could be TikTok. Who's on TikTok? Drop that in the chat if you're on TikTok. Mackenzie is. Who's creating content on TikTok? Tell us in the chat. Mackenzie, you are? Who's never heard of TikTok? These days, most of you have heard of TikTok. Who's never heard of Clubhouse? There's all of these new channels, right? And if you're thinking, well, something like TikTok, most of those are young people there. They're little kids. Well, remember how this thing started, right? Remember how Facebook started, and look where it's at now. I know some of you say, yeah, I just can't buy that social is where I can engage my customer, my prospect. My clients' customers and prospects aren't there. And you haven't even tried, or you've tried and you haven't done it right. That's an excuse, folks. Don't be that person. What you need to do is you need to level up your thinking. How do you use these channels with direct mail, with print? How do you find where your customer's attention is, where your client's attention is? And like I said, it all starts with figuring out your communication style and then understanding the channels. where those folks are hanging out. That's part of your job now, I argue. If you want to move to offering competitive OptiChannel digital services, if you're a printer, if you want to expand upon the print services that you're offering, or if you're an agency and you want to add more to your arsenal, this is the way you need to start thinking. It's basic. But less than 1% of companies, less than 1% of people are actually producing content on these channels. Most people just consume. That's a big opportunity. That's your strategic advantage, to sell more print products, more agency services, whatever it is that you do. And it's the advantage that you could provide your clients too. Now, I know when I talk to printers and some agencies, and I'm talking to them about this change, there's always people who are like, you know what, I just don't use social. I don't think it doesn't make sense to me, or it's not where my clients are hanging out, or I don't get LinkedIn, so I don't think my clients do either. But remember, people didn't like Elvis when he first came around, right? I wasn't around them, but I looked into this. He wasn't that popular a guy. But those people don't get to decide. The market, society decides, right? Society picked Elvis. The consumer picks the channels, not you, not me. Things are changing. Back in the day, we were skinny and our TVs were fat, right? Now, after COVID, this is me here, right? And my TV is super skinny. Things are changing. You get the idea. Or this, right? Back then it was, Dad, can you buy me batteries for my toy car? Now I'm asking my son, can you help me sync my iPhone with my tablet? Right? Things have changed. Or think about it like this. When I was a little kid, if my friend down the street, if your friend down the street, your best friend got in trouble and was grounded, right? You were out of luck. You had nobody else to play with. At least that was true for me. I had to play with myself, or find my sister or something and play with her. These days, if you look at kids, what do? They have access to dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of other people. Things are very different. If you're thinking, creating this kind of personified brand for my customer, for myself, feels like building a personal brand. And it feels kind of like, egotistical or narcissistic. Some of you might know Grant Cardone, right? You might think, I don't want to be like Grant. Or some of you might know this guy, right? He curses a lot. I don't want to be like that guy. Or maybe you do. But if communicating in this way rubs you the wrong way, then call it something else so it doesn't hurt your feelings. Call it marketing or something, okay? But you got to do this, because the internet, the power that's on this device is removing everything between your product and you. The only thing that's left in there is how you're communicating with them. Printers, especially, you need to listen up here. You need to hear me. You need to take advantage. I just pulled my cell phone out and pulled up here again, right? You need to take advantage of what you have in your hand, or that's right next to you right now. Think of it like this. Gary Vee, who I had on the screen a second ago, often says this: what's the ROI of a basketball? For me, I go up for a dunk, I end up in the hospital, right? That's me. Doesn't work. But for this guy, the ROI is billions. You all have basketballs in your hand right now. The key is, and forgive me for using the F word, you got to put in the work. You need to find out how to leverage that technology, words, video, audio, combine it with the other channels where your customer is already hanging out. It might be something that you're not familiar with. That's why we're here, and get at it. All right, I'm going to shut up here in just a second, bring Mac onto the stage. I want to summarize everything I said. OptiChannel is finding you or your client's market in the places that they hang out, so you can reverse engineer where their attention is right now, and then use contextualized content to engage them and orchestrate meaningful interactions and conversations across the small number of channels that matter right now. And then you need to scale that up, applying what you're learning, and repeat the process. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat. Make sense to you?
Yeah, I think one thing I just wanted to say is that, sometimes people see us and they see us talking about LinkedIn a lot, right? I think this is a tangible example.
Sure.
We talked a lot about LinkedIn today, right? We are unemotional. We don't care about LinkedIn. The bottom line is, and the reason why we're talking to you a lot about LinkedIn is because LinkedIn right now is an optimal channel for many, many marketers. And let me just tell you why, as Dave described. There is a lot of attention meaning there's a lot of people like you, me, all of us that are on LinkedIn, and we're hoping to learn something. We're there for something. And it may seem like, gosh, there's a lot of posts in my feed. I see a lot of things going on. But I just want to underscore something that Dave said that you need to keep top of mind. Less than 1% of people are posting content on LinkedIn. This is a basic game of supply and demand, men and women. You've got a lot of demand, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of you, me, and Dave's on there searching for information. And you've got a very, very less than 1%, a low supply of content. Meaning when you are there and you take the leap and you start to produce content on behalf of your customers and you, it applies for you, in a way where your customers' audience, your audience, are getting value, you have the ability to get that content in front of a lot of people because, again, demand is high, supply is low, your content gets shared really to a lot of people. So again, right now, LinkedIn is an optimal channel. As Dave flashed on the screen, there's channels like Clubhouse, there's channels like TikTok, there's many, many different places. And again, we want to follow the attention because as marketers, I say this all the time, we don't get brownie points for sending emails. We don't get brownie points for posting on social. We don't get brownie points for putting that video up, right? We're all doing this so that we can help our organization and help our clients' organization grow. And if we want to help them grow, we need to get their content in front of the eyeballs of their ideal customer profile, wherever they hang out, unemotional to how the vehicle of getting them there, right? You want to, again, be an advocate for your clients by helping them take advantage of the places that their customers' attention is high and the cost to be there is low.
Grant, I see your question on LinkedIn. Stephanie, I see your question on LinkedIn. Meryl, yes, you can get a copy of this to share with staff. We're going to give that to you afterwards. Amy, we will answer your question as well. I can see all of those questions. Keep them coming in. What I want to do right now, we won't lose track of those. Mac, I want to get the questions lined up for you. I want everybody to keep sending in those questions. What I've done, folks, is I've consolidated all of the myriad questions that you sent in advance of this session. I kind of tried to bucket them for Mackenzie. So Mac, get ready. They're coming up here on the screen in a second. But before I do that, I want to ask all of you a question. In that brief monologue there, kind of setting the stage for what we're talking about, what was one aha moment that you had? What was something that Mackenzie said or that I showed you that unlocked something for you, that gave you a new insight? Anything here? Go ahead and send those in. We love seeing those. I know sometimes it takes a minute. I see Stephanie saying, I love LinkedIn. I post 2 to 3 times a day. Excellent. I see those questions coming in. I see Stephanie saying, we're big on posting on social. Okay. Michael saying what stood out was the low cost to entry. Cindy is saying the number of channels is what stood out. Eric is saying less than 1% of user engagement and posts for LinkedIn is wild. Yep. Paul is saying supply and demand, the 1% versus the 99%. Keep those coming in, folks. Mackenzie?
Yep. George says in our Q&A, repetition is the mother of skill. 1% publishing ad nauseum. Yep.
All right, Mackenzie, first up here. There's a question that came in. I'm already using a few different technologies to create digital campaigns for my clients, but gluing them together, that was the word they used, gluing them together is painful and costly. How do I resolve this? And then I think kind of the second question here is then how do I actually make this OptiChannel? So what are your thoughts on that?
Awesome. Yeah. So whoever asked this question, great question. I want to actually first start out by saying, first things first, good job. You're using multiple channels, which means you're far ahead than the other people who are only maybe using one. So you're there, you're doing great. I think the biggest thing for me when I think about, why this is important, how you resolve this, is by recognizing and telling your customers the huge advantage that they have or the huge add value that they have when you combine different channels, right? So as an example, you may be sending emails, you may be driving people from a direct mail to a landing page. Let's just pretend your customer is a nonprofit, right? And they're doing an appeal campaign, they want to raise some funds, right? So you are, as you say here, you're doing multiple, you're doing different things, gluing them together. You've got one platform where you're sending emails out of, okay? For that customer. You are also sending direct mail. You've got a place where there's a landing page that people can go and actually put their donations. And maybe you actually use text messaging for them to talk with some of their high donors, right? They're really high value donors. So that's great that you're doing all those things, but let me just walk you through the value that you can gain when you do them all together. So you've got the email and the direct mail, let's call it driving to the same landing page. I'm talking about now gluing them together. When the person gets to the landing page, they go on there, and some of them, let's say, are going to bounce, right? They're going to get busy, their kid's going to scream or whatever it is. But some of them are going to submit a payment, right? And now if you've got another platform where you have to go pull the data from the landing page visits and the people who actually donated, and then you got to upload it into your email system, which is another email, there's a lag in time there, right? There's a gap. Now imagine if immediately your system recognized, oh, this is one of our top 10 or top 100 or however many donors. And so to that person, you send an immediately triggered text message saying, Dave, as always, you are a high value donor. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for that donation. Simultaneously to everyone else, you send an email. For the people that get there, but they leave, maybe 20 minutes later, you send them a little personal note. It looks like it's personal from your founder that says, hey, we noticed you visited our page to donate. Thank you so much for taking the first action. I'm sure you're busy. You mind just going back and completing that purchase because you're going to help so many lives or whatever that is, right? Do you see the difference how when they work together, there's a lot more value that you can bring to your customers? And so the first thing here, when I ask you, how do you resolve this? Number one, by understanding that there's value in doing it together. You're greater than the sum of your parts, right? So that's the first thing I would say. Do you have any thoughts there, Dave?
How often are you finding the printers that are here or the agencies that are here with us are gluing together solutions? And maybe folks in the chat, you can tell us if that's true for you. But how often do we see that, Mackenzie?
Honestly, I see it a lot.
Okay.
And I actually say, you know, like I said here, good thing you're doing those things. You're already ahead of the curve. The other thing is that a lot of people that I talk to are pretty hamstrung on time. They're busy, right?
Sure. Yep.
And so the first thing that I point out is when you consolidate, you save yourself a lot of times. It's a lot of time, right? You don't have to be going here and going there and then going here and going there. And so I see a lot of people doing it, but once they realize, typically they don't realize that they can actually do them all together, that they can work in concert together.
Got it.
They're able to see that, they're like, this is a no-brainer. And then for this portion, you know, this person said that it's painful and costly. I just want to now talk about that portion, which is the costly portion. Bingo. You are cutting into a lot of your margin when you're using multiple platforms. Let me repeat that again. When you're using multiple platforms that aren't in concert with one another, not only are you missing an opportunity to add value and have them work together, but you are cutting into your margin, because at the end of the day, you need to sell your services at the going rate, right? Now, if your costs are this much higher than they would be if you had a platform, this is your margin you're cutting into, right? And so when you can realize that you can consolidate these and not pay 6 different licenses for 6 different technologies that all do something, you cut down your costs and you increase your margin. So that's a big thing as service providers. You know, you're always trying to remain cost competitive while also keeping your margins front and center, because we all got to make money, right?
Yep.
And so I think that's a big aha for agencies, printers, marketing services providers when we have this conversation. You know, it's not just about the value, although that's important. It's about the fact that you have an opportunity to gain more revenue from it.
So Zoom, Facebook, LinkedIn, does this resonate with you? How many of you find yourself in this situation? Would you let us know there in the chat? I'm going to move to the next question while you do that. Next question here is, am I missing out on digital budget or spend because I'm only offering my clients print? Thoughts?
So this kind of actually goes into what we were just talking about before. So I guess I foresaw this person's question. The answer is yes. Unwavering, yes. You are missing out on an opportunity for digital budget. Actually, I had a customer that came to me. This was actually last December, and he is an automotive marketer. So he runs marketing campaigns for the automotive space. At that time, he was doing, I don't want to say only mail to say that it's just one thing, but he was doing mail alone. That's the only mail he was
Single
doing.
channel.
Single channel, right?
Yep.
And literally the reason why he called us is because he said, and I'm not quoting him, but this is basically what he said: my customers have a big digital budget that I'm A, gonna lose some of their business on the print side, and B, it's a huge bucket that I have no idea how to take advantage of. What do I do?
Hmm.
So the answer is yes, you're missing out, but there's something more important than that. More important than missing out on the budget is that you are missing out on an opportunity to deliver more value to your customers. You are missing out on an opportunity to get more data, to collect more data. Again, someone asked, I think it was Amy said, hey, well, how do I know what the optimal channel is? Well, at first, you may not. You can make some assumptions. You can look at where the audience is. But as Dave said, the judge and the jury is the customer, is the recipient. And so if you are only doing print and you're not doing those digital things, not only are you missing out on the budget, but more importantly, you're missing out on an opportunity to find out where your customer's audience is. Imagine if you add other channels. Let's say you take that list that you're mailing and you import it to Facebook and you import it to LinkedIn and you run ads and you notice, holy F, my Facebook results on that same list are huge. Well, not only did you get the ability to gather data and get their message out there more, but you just figured out that Facebook is an optimal channel for your audience, right?
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I just want you to think about the insight that you can gain along with the budget that you can capture by doing these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let us know if that resonates. Here's the next question, Mackenzie. And we got this one a lot. This came from multiple people. What's the top mistake that you see printers and agencies making when they offer these services to their clients? I've got one that comes to my mind, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
So I'm actually going to go a little bit different on this answer.
Okay.
Kind of what you were talking about before. I think the biggest mistake is not offering something because they don't know about it or they haven't used it. So for me, Dave mentioned TikTok. A lot of you said you don't know what TikTok is. I want to talk to you about, let's just say you have a major brand, a soda brand, or some sort of restaurant or whatever it is, and you're doing mail for them, and maybe you're doing email and you're doing whatever, all these channels, but you don't offer them to run a video on TikTok because you don't use TikTok and you don't know about it. That's a vulnerability. You have just missed a huge opportunity because you don't know about and you're not comfortable with it. And so again, going back to what Dave was talking at the beginning, I want to underscore, it doesn't matter if I'm on that or you're on that or your brother's on that or someone that you know who's of similar age or demographic is on it. It's about figuring out where they are and being okay with trying things that you don't know. So I kind of took that a little bit different. Maybe
no, that's good.
Specific here.
Yeah, that's good. So Jill over in LinkedIn, I see your question. We'll come back to that in a moment. Where I was going to go with this, Mackenzie, is, and I see David saying this was a great question. Thank you, David. In our years of working with printers and agencies, I would say that there's one thing that stands out between those who end up making it and those who end up floundering. And one of those very primal differences is ownership or somebody with gravitas in the organization becoming a champion for leading the company in this direction. So that person has to have the organizational strength to be able to say, and I noticed somebody said they like when my camera zooms in, so I'll do that again. They have to be able to say, look, folks, this is the direction we're going. This is where the world is going, and you need to get on board. I'm going to learn everything I need to know to support you, and this is how our organization is going to move forward. That champion, that cheerleader, if not present, leaves a void in the organization. There's no one for folks to turn to say, hey, so can you tell me more about TikTok? I don't understand what Mackenzie was saying, why it's a vulnerability. Bob, can you help me understand this so I can go talk to my customer and be effective? So they need a champion. You need a champion within the organization. That champion can be connected with, somebody like Mackenzie or somebody else out there in the industry who can give them these answers. But I would say from my perspective, it's lacking that champion, lacking that organizational sponsor, especially in, let's say, a traditional, if I could say that, traditional print company. That's something that I think everybody needs to consider. Does that resonate with everybody here in the audience, over in LinkedIn, Zoom, or in Facebook? Does that resonate with you? Mac?
Good news. Yeah, I want to add something. Good news. I talk to a lot of let's call it people that are not in a leadership role that want to do these things. They're excited by them. They know it's important, but they don't have, senior leadership on board, which
Mm-hmm.
is a huge takeaway that Dave just said. And by the way, one of the sessions we're going to share with you when you stay to the end actually talks about this exact thing for one of our customers. So that's going to be important to you. But I've got some good news for you. Because of COVID, I have personally seen, so this is my experience, I have
Okay.
seen a lot of leaders who are traditionally traditional, right? They're like, that digital stuff, nah. They have, because of their loss in revenue or because of their pivot, what they have to do, they've actually been forced to become more open-minded. I've personally seen that. Maybe you've seen
That's
that or
good.
maybe you haven't, but I think that because the landscape has changed and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's going through that and it's been forced and shoved into our faces, I've actually been able to see, sales professionals that say, you know what? I told my company this is what we're doing and this is what we're doing now.
Good for
Right? You've
them.
got a little bit more credibility because a lot of people are scrambling trying to figure out what to do, and so they're kind of like, F it, let's try it,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so if you've heard no before, if you've been trying to get a champion but no one gets on board, secret. Now's a good time to go back and knock on that door and say, hey, are you ready for me? Because what are we going to do now?
Next question that came in here. I saw this a few times and I picked this out because I know we have a lot of print and mail friends here. Hey, we're good. I saw somebody say we're the best. We're the world's best at print and mail. We can do it better than anybody, but not digital communication. How do I overcome that weakness? Mackenzie, what do you advise people who feel like, hey, we're really good in this, now adding in digital, which we're not experts in, we have no idea what we're talking about here. How do they overcome that vulnerability?
Yeah, so I have a few points here. The first one is kind of like Dave alluded to. There are so many people out there, even just on LinkedIn, that you can partner with, pick their brain, talk about it, ask them, hey, we do this. I see you do this, but I also see that you do something else, right? You almost aspire to kind of be like them. You look up to them. Listen, people love to share. You think, you know what, we're in competition, but at the end of the day, I have seen so many people in our community share what they're doing and help. So the first thing is
True.
get out of your own way and don't be afraid to ask, right? Because if you don't ask, you're not going to get an answer. So it's okay that you're not there yet, but you'll get there when you ask, when you try. The other thing, and this is a little bit different of an angle, but sometimes I think that I'll speak for myself, I have the tendency to overcomplicate things. I remember back, and if you've heard some of our other webinars, you may have heard this story, but Dave and I moved over to taking over marketing in about 2015. Prior to that, I had never been in marketing. I was in sales development. Previous to that, I worked in advertising. And I put this marketing on a pedestal. I was like, how am I going to learn to do that? And there was things where Dave's like, hey, go try that. And I was like, Dave, I don't know how to do that, right? And I kind of overcomplicated it. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is simplify it. Let's just talk about it, right? You're good at print and mail. Let's talk about a print and mail workflow, right? Okay, I have a customer. I'm going to use the automotive dealership in this example just to kind of give some different, ones. I'm a printer. I'm great at print and mail. I send print and mail on behalf of automotive dealerships, right? Cool. Okay, I don't know about digital, but let's just walk through the recipient, the person who you're sending this mail to, right? Dealership sends mail to Dave, right? Dave receives the mail piece. Cool, that's what you're good at. Well, who's Dave? Dave, what do we want Dave to do? Oh, we want Dave to book a test drive. We want Dave to come in for, a renewal. We want Dave to come in for a service. Dave is busy. Dave is on his cell phone. Dave's got 4 kids. Dave's on his computer all day. What's the best way that Dave wants to respond to that print? Does he want to pick up the phone and wait in a queue and hear the lovely, music as you wait? Or does Dave want to text in, hey, Monday at 4? What do you want to do, right? And so you may not be an expert in digital, but when you bring it down to the experience of the recipient, you don't need to overcomplicate it, right? And then once you kind of think, okay, I've got this idea, then go ask people who've done similar things, but put yourself in the recipient's shoes, rely on partners, ask questions, and try not to overcomplicate it because you can learn as you go.
Yeah, partners are key. And that's one reason why we're investing in you, community, to help you, because we know it's tough times. If you remember back to what I said at the beginning, we're bringing you this information because we know it's tough. And we know, as you just said, Mackenzie, I saw somebody say this to you, your comment about the transformation of traditional business is spot on. It's the greatest silver lining this past year. That's why we're investing in you and bringing you these thought leadership opportunities here to learn from people like McKinsey and others. We've got a great guest lined up for next week. And so there's just a lot of opportunity if you take the time to learn it and to lean into partnerships. Did you want to add something, Mac?
I just want to make one last point, and I think this is very, very important. This question asks, hey, we're good at this, but we're not at digital. It's a weakness. Everything I just said applies to you, even if you are a digital specialist. So there's many things that I do every day, but make no mistake about it. I wake up every day and I go learn from people who I aspire to, even if I feel like I'm an expert at something. So in this case, they're saying, hey, we're good at print and mail, not at digital. I want to pretend this person said, hey, we're good at print and mail and digital, and I want to learn, I want to overcome something. Even if you are an expert, a daily practitioner, something that you're good at, you need to always be learning.
Absolutely.
And learning at the rate faster than your experience.
Never stop learning, like Michael says. Yep.
What?
Michael says, never stop learning.
Exactly.
So, Mackenzie, let's imagine that there are folks here who are maybe in the early phases of thinking about, how do I offer this to my customers? First of all, how do I even identify who the right clients in my portfolio are for OptiChannel digital marketing services? How do you answer that when somebody asks you that?
So I answered a few ways. The first one is, it's easier to try something new on a customer who you have a good relationship with, right? So that auto dealership that I told, or the direct mail marketer, his name is Bob, let's call him, who came to us in December. He said, listen, I have a few dealerships that I work with that I'm actually really close with. They're my buddies. We've been working together for a long time. Again, if you want to try something new, look into your portfolio of customers. Who is open to ideas? Who do you have a good relationship with? Who do you think is, hey, you know what? I think this person would be down to try this new thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, think about what OptiChannel does, right? It allows you to generate awareness and engagement from a group of people. So look into your customer portfolio. Who is mailing with you, or who's doing Facebook ads with you, or who's doing whatever they're doing with you that you're offering in hopes of a response. Any customer of yours that's doing work with you in hopes of a response, that's a no-brainer, right? Because all these channels give you the ability to get more people to respond. Who in your customer base is looking to grow their audience? Who's looking for better results? I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but who isn't, right? So I think that your portfolio is wide and full with people who want to do better. That's why they're working with you in the first place, right? But you may want to connect with the people who are open to new ideas at first, because then what happens is you get a few wins under your belt. You get some experience, and now you're not selling something that you heard of. You're selling something that you just ran a program for and you got kick A results. And now you can go share that with the other people who may not be as receptive. Yep.
I see Amy's already listing out her potential clients. I imagine Amy's got her little her notepad in front of her like I do here, already taking notes. Amy, awesome. We love the action takers. I was thinking, as you were talking about that, Mackenzie, one of the things that, and again, if I'm speaking to my commercial print friends here, that I have seen with commercial printers over the years is that, to your point, Mackenzie, about thinking about what is the outcome of the mail that you're printing? What is the outcome of the direct mail that you are manufacturing? You have to think, and this is up to you and your organization if you choose to do this, but you're manufacturing that print, that mail, for some marketing objective, some purpose, right? And if you stop thinking about yourselves solely as the manufacturer, which is a very important thing, obviously, but if you think to yourself, how do I engage myself in the conversation with the folks on the other end who need to generate leads, who need to create those sales, who need to get the phone ringing, right? When you start having conversations with them about the things that we're talking about here, then you start to identify within your portfolio who can actually employ these services. And I would argue it's pretty much everyone. All right. I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second there. Mackenzie, this question came in a lot of different facets. To create and manage campaigns, who do I need? There were questions like, who do I need in sales leadership? Who do I need on my sales team? Who do I need to build campaigns? So how do we look at that when we're talking to prospective clients and our customers about the staffing that they need to support this?
So just to your point earlier, first of all, you need leadership or someone who can sign off on these things, who has a forward vision, who's customer obsessed and wants to bring value. Number one, get that person on board, the champion, as Dave calls it. I think from a sales perspective, you also have to be an advocate, like I talked about, for your clients, and be obsessed with learning new things, right? Just the mere fact that you are here today
True.
signals to me that that's you. So you need people like you who were thinking, I got clients and I want to do better for them. So I'm going to go learn. You are a valuable asset. So I just want to commend you for being here, because you've already taken action. I think on the building side, I think that something I say, and I know Val's here. I spoke to Val the other day with a few members of her team. And I said, you got to plan for your current reality while also taking future considerations or future hopes into consideration. And what I mean by that is, if you say, I need a programmer, a developer, an email marketing specialist, a content creator, a creator who does, digital ads, a digital ad specialist, right? This is your dream list. I just list your dream list, right? But if you tell yourself, I need all those things before I start, you're not even going to start. So if you've got an organization and you're doing a bunch of things right now and you want to take it to the next level, here's my dream list for you. A leader who sees the vision, sales professionals who advocate on behalf of their customers, a programmer, an email marketing specialist, a content creator, a copywriter, a digital ad specialist. This is like future hope, right? Or if you're already there, this is fine tuning. In Dave's case, right? He does a lot of webinars. He's got an incredible setup. Dave, can you flash that or not live?
Yeah, I can do that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
he's going to show you yes, there we go. For those of you who weren't here, that's what Dave, wave your hand, Dave, so they know this is live.
There we go.
Yeah, you can see me.
Yeah, there's exactly. Mackenzie right there. Yeah.
So for Dave, he needs all those things because he's already at a point where he's been doing this for a long time, right? But for someone who wants to run their first webinar, I would never tell them to go buy that setup, because they're never going to start. All you need is a computer. And it's the same thing with offering digital campaigns. Yeah, exactly. If you are starting out, I want you to think that you need a partner who's going to help you do that at first, because as that person who ran digital marketing campaigns, he's like, hey, he literally told me I could sell ice to Eskimos, but I'm never going to touch technology today. I said, hire for that later. Partner with a team who can actually implement those programs for you at first. So I think you need to take into consideration where you are and ask yourself, what is it I need today to take the next step? And fill that gap first. That would be my answer. What about you, Dave?
Well, what I want to do is I want to take a few of the questions that everybody's throwing in here. I appreciate all the questions that are coming in. I see Stephanie's over in LinkedIn. Jill's really active. Grant, want to appreciate all of you. If you're over there in LinkedIn and you're getting value from these responses that we're giving you, especially what Mac is laying down, drop some exclamation marks into LinkedIn. Do the same in Zoom. We want to get to all your questions. My team over here on the right-hand side, what you just saw in that behind the scenes view, has been pulling your questions. And so, Mac, what I want to do is I want to start going to the real-time questions and just getting some quick fire responses. Let's get those exclamation marks coming in. Keep it going, says Cindy. So before we lose anybody here, what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity. If you want to learn more about what we're talking about today, we want to give you some tangible next steps. Okay, does that sound good to you? I want to give you some tangible next steps, whether you're a printer, an agency, a marketing services company, and you've never offered these to your client, or you are, and like Mackenzie, the person who asked about, these solutions that I've glued together, how do I move to the next step? I want to give you some help in terms of where you can go from there. So what we've done, we've set aside some time next week, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mackenzie? No, there's no time today, but next week, what we've done is we've set aside time to talk to you about how you can grow your revenues as a service provider. So agency, printer, marketing services company, by selling OptiChannel services to your clients. And the team has set aside time so we can talk this through with you, understand where your problems are, where your challenges are right now. Everybody's unique. Every company is different. Lots of different companies here, different sizes, different personalities, different focus areas. There's no obligation. We're doing this to help you, to help this community And of course, there's no cost. So if you're interested in talking one-on-one, that's one next step that we can offer you. Mac, if you don't mind, grab that with the, don't forget the www in front of it. Some people have issues with that. So Mackenzie and Suzanne and Mike Chercuzio over there in LinkedIn or wherever you folks are, drop that in the chat for everybody. We've got some time on the calendar, limited spots. But if you want to talk one-on-one, grab one of those spots. We're going to give them first come, first serve. Mackenzie, actually, I think you're going to be on many of those calls. And so if you want to pick our brains, if you want to understand how to apply this, this is for you specifically, like I said, printer, agency, marketing services company. Maybe you own the company, you're a leader in the company, you're in sales, marketing, maybe you're in production and you need to be building these campaigns more effectively. And you're at this point where you realize, look, I need to figure out how to get this done in a way that's going to serve my clients more effectively so I can grow revenue and increase margins. Like you said, Mackenzie, this time is for you. If this describes you, we're happy to help. And what we're going to do on that call is help you get exactly focused in what your goals are. What are you trying to do? And then we're going to help you understand what we think are the specific steps that you can take to achieve your objectives with this framework, this OptiChannel framework that we've been talking about. We want to help you do that in the shortest possible amount of time. The benefit that we have is we get to look out over thousands of organizations as they're doing this, using our software, our training, our services, right? You're looking at it from inside of one organization. So what we want to help you do is bring all of that knowledge and say, okay, have you considered this? Have you thought about that? Here's how we could help you here. Here's what you might want to do. And if that's helpful to you, go over there, sign up, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. When you go there, you'll see a form on that page where you can enter in a little bit of information about yourself, give you permission to turn me down and go over there and do that now. You've got two options with all of what you've learned here today. I always say this whenever I'm talking to people and they're considering making a change. You can do nothing and miss this opportunity to speak with Mackenzie and our team, or you can schedule a session and see if this makes sense, see if this can help you. And like you said, Mackenzie, folks that are here right now, I know you're serious. I know you've been thinking about this. So your second option is just go over to that form, and if you think it's helpful to you, say, you know what, Dave, Mackenzie, let me see if I can tell you my situation, see if I can get some help and get pointed in the right direction. So what's that?
Let's talk it out.
Yeah, let's talk it out. So mindfiremarketing.com/yes. When you go there, you see this little form. When you get there, I know some folks say, hey, where do I pick the date and time? Just enter in your information there. Tell us maybe something that's good for you. We'll follow back and get that put on the calendar at a time that's good for you. If you're thinking this isn't good for you because maybe you're not ready or you're using other tools, I know some of you have tried this and failed before. You're not technical. Maybe you say, hey, we're not marketers. We're too small. We're too big. It's okay. There's a variety of different ways that you can go about this. No one solution is great for everyone. Okay. We have multiple ways that we can help you. We have multiple things that we can point you towards. So if you want to talk, let's do that. I want to give you one more piece of data for those of my friends here before I get to all your questions that are data minded. Why is what we're talking about here more important than ever? This comes from my friend Jacqueline. She's the Chief Commerce and Business Solutions Officer over at USPS. So some data that they just recently published. There are distinct and very powerful advantages to using multiple channels the way we're talking about today, compared to the single channel approach that you talked about, like with your friend, I think we're calling him Bob, right, Mackenzie? And those are the brands that are using this kind of marketing experience a 287% higher purchase rate when using 3 or more channels. They see a 48% higher conversion rate when involving text messaging. You touched on that briefly, Mac. And the average ROI from SMS is 2,700%. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
I'll take it.
Huh?
I said, I'll take it.
You'll take it. Purchase frequency is 250% higher. Average order value is 13% more. Customer retention rates are 90% higher. And 64% of consumers are willing to pay for a simplified user experience. So back to your illustration, Mackenzie, about, if you're doing automotive marketing on behalf of your client, and you're thinking about where is that client hanging out? What kind of devices are they using? How do I make that experience easier for them? 64% of consumers are willing to pay more for that type of experience. So, you're a service provider. Think about how many clients, like Amy, you were already making that little list, right? How many clients are you underserving right now? How many clients are you not living into your potential because you're not servicing them in this way? Think about that for a moment. And so if you want to talk further, that's the URL there on the screen. Mackenzie, Suzanne, Michael, or Mike Chircuzio. If you don't mind, drop those into the chat again. I see folks are already grabbing spots. So thank you to Paul, Jill, Ralph, Michael. A couple Michaels are here. Mark. See a number of people here. And I'm going to open it up for questions now. Mackenzie, if you don't mind, drop that URL one more time. Same to you, Suzanne. And I am going to go over to Ring Central first for my team so they know where I'm at. Let me see. The first question that I have here.
There's a lot of good ones.
Grant over on LinkedIn saying, Dave, when creating content or developing your business brand, do you separate the business brand from your own personal image? Keeping in mind that most people relate the owner to the business. Yeah, that's a good question, Grant. So I'll just give you my thoughts, and then Mackenzie, if you want to add on top of this. What we have found, and we've tested this, and you should test the same, is that generally speaking, people connect with people. And we've tested personal brand versus the Mindfire brand. And often the personal brand does better, meaning more views, more clicks, more conversions. So what I would say is do both. But be aware that if you're not using the personal brand to grow your business or for your customer, you might be missing a significant opportunity. How would you answer that, Mackenzie? What have you seen?
Yeah, again, I would say you've got to test it out. Even everything we say here today, we're talking from experience for our own business as well as hundreds of thousands of people like you and businesses like yours. However, testing the market always tells you the answer. So I would just say, a lot of people say, well, they use this, I'm B2B or my customers are B2B. That's like something I hear every week. And I said, okay, so you're trying to reach other businesses. Are you communicating with the corporation or how are you communicating? Well, I'm trying to find people at the businesses. There's your answer, right? So people are people. I think that you need to test both. I think you should be doing more than doing less. But just remember, no matter what you're doing, people want to talk to people and want to, they want that sense of connection, especially now. So I think that you have an opportunity to really build that up. So that's what my take would be.
I see some folks asking, how do we pick the specific date and time if we do want to talk this through? So folks, just when you go here to this page, which you see here up on my screen, just give us an indication as to what generally works well for you. And then our team is going to follow back up with you and we'll get you situated at a time that works well for you. Okay.
Yeah, there was another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was even higher than that. It said, came from Facebook, I believe. Okay. And it says, how would you create consistency in content or modify them according to the platform used? So I think this is when we were talking about contextualizing. You want to take it or do you want me to take it?
Sure, I can answer that for a brief moment, and then maybe you can add on to that. So whoever asked that question, one of the common things that we see, especially let's say with our print community, is they will take a direct mail piece and say, hey, can we send this as the email? If you've ever asked your people that, or if you've ever asked your partner to do that, I'm talking to you folks. So when you contextualize something, you don't take what works in one channel and necessarily just apply it to the next. So you don't take a direct mail piece, a PDF, and say, let's just send this PDF through email. If you're laughing right now, you would be surprised how many folks think that's what you should do. Big mistake. Similarly, you wouldn't take that PDF and put it in a Facebook post as an image, or maybe copy and paste it in the body of the post. So what you have to learn, it's a great question. What you have to learn is you have to be a practitioner of that channel. You need somebody on your team, or you need a partner, whether it be Mindfire or somebody that you rely upon, who is a practitioner and what I like to call a digital native. You have to have some knowledge of how people use that particular platform. One silly example, and I use this for the folks that were in our training class yesterday. I'm not getting political here, but I want to ask you all a question. How many of you remember that Bernie meme was like last week or the week before? Remember Bernie sitting there looking kind of, huh?
Like this.
Yeah, exactly. How many of you remember that? Give me a yes in the chats if you remember that. Again, I'm not getting political. I'm just saying you have to be tuned into what's happening right now and how those things are being used. So the Bernie meme, as an example, did any of you use that for your business or for yourself, right? The way you would use it in email would be different than you would use it on Facebook. It would be different than how you would use it on Instagram, would be different than how you use it on TikTok, right? Hopefully I've given you some insight there. Hopefully I answered the question. Thank you for that, Mackenzie.
Yeah, good answer. Someone asked a question here. I just want to go over it quick because we're here to give you value. Jill over in LinkedIn asked about, hey, talking about cohesive technology, do you have a few recommendations on platforms? So I'll just take this one really quick and then we can move on. Obviously, we work for Mindfire. You may or may not know, we have a technology platform that enables OptiChannel marketing and sales communication. So obviously, I would advocate for ours. However, more important than advocating for ours, I think it's important that I and whoever else is talking to you understands what you're looking to do, because there are many platforms out there. And ultimately, your success is predicated on you finding the platform that's best for you. So I just want to make it clear, if you do fill out that form, the mindfiremarketing.com/yes, and one of the questions you want to talk about is talking about platforms, and you talk to me, I will always provide information about what we do and others, and give a recommendation that I truly believe is best for you, whether that's ours or someone else's. At the end of the day, you don't get brownie points for choosing a technology, right? You want results from it. So that's something I would say. You got to choose what's best for you, and just talk to someone who can ask you the questions to uncover what's going to be the best. What do you need in a platform and a partner and a team, and then go there.
Mac, so as you were talking, who was it that asked that question?
That was Jill M in LinkedIn.
In LinkedIn. Okay, so I got this PowerPoint here. Let me rifle through it real quick. Jill, if you're wondering, like, what should the technology platform be able to do, or more specifically, what is it that the Mindfire platform does? Let me show you a few quick examples. Again, this is not a pitch for Mindfire. I just want to show you to kind of get the wheels turning.
Someone also asked about use cases. So this is your answer as well.
So we have quite a bit of service provider activity in financial services. Does anybody here work with, say, mortgage companies, banking, mortgage, banking, refinance, financial services, loaning money, loan consolidation? Any of those resonate? Anybody? Let me know there in the chat. We see a lot of financial services. That's what it means. That's what FS means here, where they are generating leads using a few optimal channels: email, direct mail with PURLs, social. I'll tell you what I mean by there in a moment, mobile, and a few other channels. And there's some very common, what we call OptiChannel journeys that look something like this. We've redacted the customer name here, but these are sequences of communication and engagement that involve print and these other optimal channels, leading folks to landing pages, personalized landing pages like what you see here on the screen, where there's opportunities to engage folks if they're coming from social, if they're coming from direct mail, in a variety of different ways. Here's another personalized microsite example. Jill, for you, if you want to see what some of these look like, these are all just in full disclosure, these are all powered by Mindfire. These are powered by the platform that Mackenzie was talking about. So you can see the kinds of campaigns that you can create, some very sophisticated workflows. If you've ever designed one of these campaigns, you know that sometimes the workflows can get fairly sophisticated. Here's an example of a real life workflow that is implemented inside of Mindfire, and our platform helps you create those types of campaigns, whether it be through what we call our workflow designer or our blueprint editor. And again, this is not a pitch for Mindfire, but let me just tell you what I mean by that. The workflow designer is for those of you who are saying, look, I want to create an OptiChannel workflow from scratch, and I want to create the engagement journey to match exactly what my customer is looking for. I want to use multiple channels. I want to integrate with a third-party system. That's what the workflow designer is for, drag and drop creation of those workflows. The blueprint editor, on the other hand, what that does is that leverages pre-built, pre-baked OptiChannel workflows that have all of that technology under the hood and makes it really simple to set up and configure these campaigns. Think of them as like 70% done. So for some agencies, some printers, that's useful. You hit the ground running with a service, a product offering that's already ready to sell, so to speak. And that's what folks like Summit Direct Mail, who I have here on the screen, here's somebody that McKinsey works with. You can read what he's saying about how impactful these services are to him and to his clients. And so, McKinsey, thank you for letting me go off on my soapbox again, but hopefully for Jill and for others, that was helpful. What's the next question you see?
Yep. So let's see. I think, Eric, you mean channel, but Eric says, what platform for commercial printers would be the most prominent? Do you have a company example? I think what you mean is what channel would be the most prominent. Eric, if you're still here, it looks like you are, please just clarify for me. If you mean what's the most channel, I think what you're asking is, hey, what's the natural progression from I offer print and mail to I want to diversify? I think that's what you're asking. Okay, Eric says yes, great. So Eric, I would say for you, the first thing you want to think about is making a response to that direct mail piece as easy as possible. And so the ones that come to mind are either A, connecting that direct mail to the web with a PURL, a personalized URL, a landing page that people can go to complete that transaction, to donate money, to submit to get content, to get a coupon, to schedule a demo, whatever that objective is. The other thing that's it's not new, but not a lot of people are yet using it, is to use a text in response. Because again, it combines, it's tangential to that print. So you send a print piece out, you've got the personalized URL, or as Dave showed, the QR code that leads to a personalized landing page. But maybe you want to get fancy and you want to say, you know what, let's allow people to respond on their device. And so it says on the mail piece, maybe the front is talking about whatever the offer is, and on the back it says text keyword, whatever that keyword is that you decide. Let's call it, I don't know, donate to, and then the number that you'll be given. And so now you've given that person who's doing print and mail, and you've connected that print and mail to mobile and digital with one addition. So that's a pretty, I'd say personalized URLs, text messaging, QR codes. Those are a pretty easy next step in your progression from, hey, I do print and now I want to do digital. Does that answer your question, Eric? Just go over to the Q&A and just tell me if it does, so I can make sure that if not, we hone in a little bit deeper.
And Mindfire team behind the scenes here, you've all been so helpful. Go over there to our back channel. Let us know what burning questions we're missing. And over on LinkedIn, if you're still here on LinkedIn, give us some love over there. Give us some likes. Say, hey, we're still here listening. Let us know what questions you have over here in Zoom. Feel free. And I'm going to ask you all a question. I want to know, and you've seen me do this a lot, I'm sure, if you've been in any of our other live events. I want to know from you. I want to learn from all of you. I want to know what stood out to you today. You're taking notes. If you've been inspired by anything, if you've been kicked in the butt by anything, what stood out to you? Amy says, I am so energized.
Me too.
Awesome. Great job, David and Mackenzie. Thank you, Amy. That's very kind of you. Who else? I see Stephanie saying, thank you, David and Mackenzie. This was awesome and helpful. I have to hop off for a Zoom meeting. I appreciate your time. Stephanie, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Grant says, Dave, I'm going to complete the form later. I also need to jump off. This has been extremely insightful. That's awesome. Thank you all. Let's see. Michael says the
willingness to share value.
Love
that. Value in all caps. Yes, Michael, you got it.
Paul says you have grown. Uh-oh. Maybe when I showed that behind the scenes view, he's talking about my girth or something, huh?
Nice.
Paul, I'm kidding. I appreciate that, my friend. Very kind words. Kevin says opportunity. Michael says so much opportunity, so many eyes, so few content providers. George says SMS opportunity and the USPS slide. Okay. Mark says, are many Mindfire clients on this call? Any thoughts on pricing models to sell? Well, it's a good question. How many of you are Mindfire clients? Tell me in Zoom, in LinkedIn, in Facebook, and we'll answer Mark's question.
Yeah, and can I just give this is I'm very passionate about this. So,
okay, go ahead.
I just want to answer this because I'm very, very passionate about this. So Mark, first of all, we would love to help you. So please reach out to us and our client success team will walk you through how to appropriately price. Let me give you one piece of advice that, again, I'm very, very passionate about. Do not undervalue your programs. Meaning, do not, just because you don't know how much, you're hesitant about them, you don't charge that much because, hey, I'm not really sure, and you're not really confident, because do not undervalue what you're enabling these people to do. I want to give, going back to that automotive example, Bob, in this case, he started out in December of 2019 with us. He called us, like I told you the story, what he wanted to do. He started doing this for his customers. I was very, very forceful about the fact that I do not want you to undervalue what you're doing. And I want you to think about, if they sell one car, if they convert one student, if they sell one loan, if they, whatever it is, what is the ROI to them? And now reverse engineer, because again, if you're charging $2,000 for a campaign, that's easily going to convert 10 cars, 20 cars. Come on, there's a big delta there, right? Don't undervalue what you're doing, because not only are you bringing them knowledge, you're bringing them technology, you're bringing them campaigns, you're bringing them results, right? So I'm very, very passionate about this. If you don't know what to charge, please get in touch with us, because I do not want you to undervalue. Bob, in this case, he did at first charge a certain amount. And after a certain while, he says, oh my gosh, I had so many people, I want to upsell, I want to charge more. So I said, I want you to charge this much more. And guess what? The clients didn't squawk. And now where he is today, charging versus he was before for that same product or service, he's like, Mackenzie, I left so much money on the table at first, right? So please, if you're not sure, let's talk about it, because what you're doing for your customers is valuable. So my rant is over, but it's very important. Great question.
So something that I thought was really cool that I just saw here from Jill. Jill, before you drop off, I have a question for you. Jill says, overall, I feel relieved that it's not as overwhelming to do this as I think many, including myself, think that it is. Jill, how large an organization are you? I'd love to know that. She says, in other words, it's realistic, even for smaller companies like myself. Jill, I want to know how big a company you are. Michael is saying, thank you, Dave and Mac. You guys are amazing. Happy Friday, wisdom and experience. Hashtag wisdom and experience. Troy, hey, Troy, says, I concur with Amy, very inspiring. Michael says, I'm really getting an understanding of what I can do. Brett says, insightful in all caps. Scott says, the only 1% was eye-opening. Amy says, I'm a Mindfire client and I need help with pricing too. Okay, we can help there. Troy is saying, our company is a Mindfire customer and I'm personally a Da Vinci client, which I need help getting launched. Oh, Jessica, there's Troy, perfect for you. Troy, if you haven't yet filled out that form, Mackenzie, do you mind putting that back in? I think Troy's in Zoom. We can help you as well, Troy, with that. No problem. I like what Brett says here. What we do for companies is money at a discount. That's cool. Val is saying, thanks so much, Bob and Mackenzie. This was awesome. I have to go to 1 p.m. I'm being called Bob now. I'll take it. You can call me whatever you want. Mark says, makes sense. Good points. Amy says, you are very passionate. Amy, I think, are you talking about Mackenzie? All right, cool. What other questions do you have? Jill, let me see. Jill just responded. Let me come back here. She says, it's mostly just me. I work with teams at other companies of all sizes, but I'm constantly looking for ways to not only grow my own business, but also to collaborate with my company, with the company's team to benefit everyone. Awesome. Cool. All right, Mac, what other questions did I miss here?
I see George asked, and it was a while ago, but when is it appropriate to ascend to premium in LinkedIn, and do I need to do that? You want to take that?
Yeah, who asked that question?
George P.
George, is this George P?
Yes.
Yeah, George, I can't recall if you asked that yesterday, but my advice would be similar to what I told our students yesterday, which is, until you get the 4 pillars of social selling down, and if you don't know what those are, folks, let me know. I'll tell you here in the meeting. But until you get those 4 down and you're building that muscle daily, I don't think you need to spend the money on premium yet. All right. So you got to get those 4 things down. For everyone else who's wondering, we teach a class on OptiChannel social selling, and it's designed to help you reach and engage your customers using all of these techniques that we're talking about. Okay. So if you want to reach your customers and help sell more product and service of yours, you need to learn how to do this stuff. And we train folks on how to do that. And so yesterday we covered how to use LinkedIn, specifically the 4 pillars of the social selling framework on LinkedIn. And so George was in that class, and my advice would be to you and to anyone else who's here is understand those 4 pillars first, put them into practice, build that muscle, and build up that routine before you invest in something else. I don't think you need to yet. All right. Let's see.
This is sort of a comment, but kind of a question, but I think it's important we talk about it. Milo or Milo? I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, but I'm going to say it's Milo, but it could be Milo. Over in LinkedIn says, wouldn't you agree that before promoting yourself online, you have to have an online shop 24/7 online presence? Convenience is key. If you don't have an online presence or print shop, if you're a printer, brand building online will be rather limited results. Do you agree? I know my answer. Do you agree or not?
Is that from the context of a web to print storefront, do you think, Mackenzie?
I think that's what he means. I think.
Okay. Who asked that question?
Milo or Milo?
Okay, Milo or Milo. Sorry, I'm bad with names. Can you just clarify whatever channel that came in on? If you're talking about web to print storefront, I think my answer would be different pending what exactly you're referring to. I see Jill over in LinkedIn asking about the class. Is that class on your website? So Mackenzie, do you want to talk about the class for a moment? I brought that slide up here in case you wanted to. Do you want to just fill Jill in and everyone else on that?
Yeah, so thank you, Jill, for the question. So one of the things that obviously we talked about is that we're a technology company, right? So in many cases, we license our technology to you. You use it to run OptiChannel marketing programs or sales programs for your customers. What we've learned is that times change really fast. The market evolves really fast. And many of our service provider friends, agencies, marketing services providers, printers, they aren't completely up to speed because they're busy in their day-to-day life, right? They aren't up to speed on all the things you need to do to be able to effectively provide OptiChannel marketing. And so what we've done is we've designed a 6-week course. Yes, awesome, thank you. Dave's putting the syllabus on the screen here. A 6-week course that supplements our technology so that you can learn how to find engaging content and use it yourself, how to distribute that content in the way that we described, right? How to get that out, how to create a magnetic LinkedIn profile that's going to attract people and show people how you can help them. We're going to teach you how to write motivating copy, how to get attention, all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about how you can use custom audiences. This is something we didn't talk about today, but paid advertising in a way that's going to get your customers and or you better results. So we supplement our technology with the 6-week OptiChannel Secrets training course that we include to be able to help you learn all the things that you need to learn to bring more value to your customers.
Cool. So Jill, if you want to find out more about that, Jill, did you book any time to talk to us yet? If not, use that URL that you see here on the bottom of the screen, and Suzanne or Mike Chercuzio have put that into the chat there in LinkedIn for you. Get some time on the calendar with us if you want to talk about that. What are the questions? I don't think we yet got a follow-up answer from Milo or Milo, but I just want to answer that live for everyone. Sure, go ahead. If you don't mind. Yep. Here's the thing. I think that it's great if you do have an online storefront, but if you're asking me, should I not build my brand and not share content and not market until then? My answer is absolutely not. You should start right now. You should have started yesterday, but there's no better time than yesterday than now. So let those things, I mean, yes, it would be fantastic if you had an online storefront to sell whatever it is you sell. But if you don't, you want to lay the foundation, right? None of this stuff happens overnight, right? It's not like you're going to put 10 pieces of content today and tomorrow you're going to have this huge brand and all of a sudden you're going to be like, shoot, I'm not set up for success, right? This stuff takes time. It takes time to, people have to know you, like you, and trust you. Trust gets built with consistency over time, right? So you're going to have to be doing this in a way where you're providing value continuously. So my answer would be awesome if you have it. If you don't, let's not use that as an excuse to not get started building your brand today. I see Amy saying I have to jump off, but thank you for the kick in the butt. Just what I needed. Awesome. We love to be pleasant butt kickers. Brett says, awesome, Mackenzie and Dave. I'm meeting with Joe in 3 minutes. Okay, looking forward to that. Email for what you're sending. Okay, yes, no problem, Brett. That's going to come your way. Thank you, Brett. Have a wonderful day, folks. If you have to drop off, just say goodbye, please, over in Zoom or Facebook, LinkedIn. we want to
been
make
2
sure.
hours. No, an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah, we want to make sure we say goodbye to you. It's really an honor to be able to spend this time with you. We want to make sure we answer all your questions. Michael, we'll talk to you soon. Kevin, bye-bye to you. Dar says, thanks, D&M. Need to jump off till next week. Dar, awesome.
Love that.
George says, thank you. Have a great weekend. Same to you, George. Folks, what else do you have on your minds? What else can we answer for you? If you haven't grabbed time on our calendars yet, please do. I see somebody saying, I went to the link and the screen just goes to the form that I already submitted. So if you already submitted the form, Jill, and you want to know more about that class, that's fine. When we schedule that call, our team's going to be reaching out, I think today, right, Mackenzie, after this afternoon. So be on the lookout for our team. I see Anthony Baker saying, great job, Dave and Mackenzie. We got to get Anthony on one of these soon, right, Anthony?
He's ready.
Troy? Yeah, Troy says, great value. Thank you. Until next time. Mark says, got to go. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Anthony says, yeah. Okay, cool.
It's all right, Anthony. It starts with chat. I was there also.
Yeah, it happens little by little. Rich Baker, any relation to Anthony Baker, says, thanks so much for the motivation. Awesome. David says, thanks for your time. You're welcome, folks. Has this been helpful to you? Has this been helpful, everyone? I see somebody saying, thank you. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. Watch the commercials. As a producer of content now, you need to be watching those commercials to learn something. Rich says, yes. Michael says, it's been great. Okay, so Suzanne and Mike, Chircuzio and Jess over here on the back channel. Let me know if I've missed anything. Folks, you have a few more minutes here with us. We're going to stick around as long as you need. Scott says, very educational. Have a great weekend. I have my work cut out for me. Cool.
But don't let the quantity of work stop you from starting.
Ooh, Mackenzie with the one-liners today. Woo! Let's write that one down. That's a good one.
Don't let the quantity of the work stop you from starting. I honestly have never said that before. But
really? That's good.
I
like that.
pat myself on the back because I'm going to tell myself that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Robbie says, thanks. Great session. Michael says, how profound. Yes, I agree. Scott says, we'll start small.
There you go.
Try says, thanks. It's very educational. She or he, sorry, I don't know, is over on LinkedIn. Jill says, awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm going to hop off now.
Ron Jacobs here. Sorry, I just got so excited because I haven't spoken to Ron in a while, so I can only see that it's your name. I hope it is the Ron Jacobs I'm thinking of over and Zoom. And thanks for being here, Ron. Great to see you. Hope to connect with you soon.
Howard Larson over on LinkedIn says, I want my girls to see the recording of this. Howard, no problem. We can get you that recording. Howard, it's good to see you. Hope all is well. I haven't talked to you in a while. I remember the last time I actually saw you face-to-face was at not Graph Expo. What do they call it these days?
United?
Yeah. No. Print, right? Print 19 or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that was last time I saw Howard. Yep. All right, folks, what else you got? We're here. We're yours. We're here to help and bring you value. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. Mackenzie, is there anything else you think I should bring up on the screen? I've got more examples. I've got
you know what? Let's walk through another example. For everyone's here, why not?
Okay. Let me show a couple things then that might be useful to everybody.
I like examples.
You do?
Yeah. Makes it easy to get ideas and apply it to your business.
Sure. Definitely. So one other example of something we can help you with. Robbie's asking, are we getting a recording? I would like to show sales. Yes, Robbie, you will. Especially those of you who are in Zoom. You signed up and you will get a recording. Yes. Other example of something we can help you do. And maybe this is for somebody here who maybe runs a company and is small right now, but wants to do this and offer it to their clients, or you may be a large company for that matter and just not have the bandwidth or the right people to run these campaigns for your client. We have an internal agency where we can launch those campaigns for you on your behalf for your client. So it starts with us understanding what your goals are for your client. We help you pick and assess the right workflow. We go through the steps with you. We help and hold you accountable to your part of it. And we develop the campaign as much or as little as you need. Our agency does all of that work. You can essentially white label us, if you will, and start to offer these services to your clients, even if you don't have the staff to build and manage these campaigns. Mackenzie, you want to add anything to that?
The only thing to say is some of the things that we talked about, maybe you felt like it was kind of future, right, over your head. Like I talked about a nonprofit wanting to integrate a payment processing app on the landing page so people don't have to go and sign into PayPal. Let's talk about that. That's something I'm also passionate about. You are asking your donors or whatever it is, in this case it's a donor, to do something. You send them to the landing page. Then from the landing page, they need to go to PayPal. Then they forgot their password. They're done, folks, right? So one of the things I talked about is let's decrease friction. Let's increase conversion. One of those ways of doing that in the nonprofit example is embedding or connecting an easy to do payment processing app. And you're like, hey, I want to do that for my customer who's sending mail, but I don't know how to technically do that. Or, hey, I've got a developer, but they're busy. We can help you do that. So again, if you are, here and you're wanting to get to here, or if you're here and wanting to get to here, there's always resources out there to help you. Again, don't use that as an excuse, right? So I think that from the most simple to the most complex, you can get it done. I believe in you. You just got to rely on the right partner sometimes.
Yeah, great question here from Michael G saying, I like the white label done with you. Do you have clients that white label just the software for their clients? Yes, Michael, we do. So our clients, when they sign up with Mindfire, and Mackenzie, I'm probably speaking out of line. You should talk about this a little bit more. Okay. But when they sign up, not only do they get access to run OptiChannel campaigns for themselves, but you also get what we call sub-accounts, Michael. And each sub-account can hold as like a container for one of your customers. Mackenzie, how many do we provide folks when they sign?
So with our basic plan, we provide 10. Means you can run marketing for your own company and 9 other clients without paying additional licensing fees for those sub-accounts. And that's for the question that someone asked earlier that you flash up on the screen, gluing together. I think they said they were gluing together and it's cost, it's cost prohibitive. Yep. So that's one of the benefits, right? So if you have a platform that powers your campaigns, that takes into consideration the fact that hopefully you're going to have more clients and hopefully you're going to be growing those clients, and you don't need to pay a per account license fee. Again, cost goes lower, margins go up.
Michael, do we have time on the calendar to talk that through with you? If that's helpful to you, if you want to know more about that, be happy to set some time on the calendar. If you haven't yet, let us know. Mackenzie, let me share one more thing, and then we'll see if we have any final questions. So for those of you who are still here, let me talk specifically to my print friends for a moment. One of the other things that we can help you with, if you are seriously considering amplifying what you're doing and how you're helping your clients, then you need to consider how to amplify your own marketing to start to engage your customers more frequently. And one of the things that we've done is inside of your Mindfire software, if you decide at some point in the future to become a client, let's say you're not, we provide what we call quick starts. These are fully functioning end-to-end campaigns that are for the most part 80% done. Here's one that you can use to engage your customers. It talks about how to use direct mail in conjunction with Facebook. So that means you have all the landing pages, you have the white paper, you have the drip sequence, you have the ebook, the landing pages, you have everything that you need, 80% done. You just come in here and customize the last 20% to have your company information in it. So that's another advantage of working with a good partner, is that we're trying to put your needs front and center. And we know that it's difficult for the cobbler's kids often don't have any shoes, right? That expression. It's difficult for you to do your own marketing, run marketing regularly for your organization. So we provide you these kinds of assets. Here's another one we did with USPS. It's called a look at how millennials respond to direct mail. So again, for those who are print friends here who do direct mail for their clients, another campaign, end-to-end campaign that's virtually ready to go. And there's a number of those that are built in to the technology. So hopefully that was helpful for somebody here. Mike says, I submitted the form, but I'd like to set it up soon, please. Okay. Looks like Mackenzie, you just moved him to the front of the line. Okay. Awesome. All right. What else? I'm going to pause for 30 seconds. Mackenzie, do you think we've missed anything here?
No, I just sifted through them, but we still do have a lot of people here. So Dave, Elizabeth, Eric, Fred, George, Hazel, Jamie, Jay, and the list goes on. Lauren, Mark, Meryl, Michael. How can we help you? We're here for you. You're taking your precious time to be here with us. We want to deliver value to you. So any questions? Anything we can help with?
If you're still here in LinkedIn, drop hello in LinkedIn so that I know you're still with us. Go say, hey, I'm still here. I see Tyler, Sandy, Ron, Robbie, Paul, Patricia, Pam over in Zoom. Or for you on Facebook, drop a hello. It looks like Suzanne and Kamisha are talking back and forth in Facebook. That's awesome.
Love it.
Yep, very cool.
By the way, that's an example real quick of OptiChannel marketing, right? Kamisha was in Facebook. Kamisha had a question. Suzanne responded to Kamisha in Facebook, right? Let's make it easy for Kamisha to
yeah,
get.
That's so true. Hey, Pam, really kind comment there. Pam is saying, I'm loving this in exclamation or in all caps. Pam, give me a little gift here. What do you love about this? What is helpful to you? What is it that's encouraging to you? What is it that you're gaining insight from? We always love knowing what that is. And Pam would love to hear that from you. Ron, Robbie, Nicole, Mike, we got a lot of Mikes. Mike seems to be a very common name in our
usually
in
it's Dave.
Yeah, usually it is Dave.
Today,
You're
Mike
right.
has surpassed Dave. Sorry.
Hi, Tamara. I see you over there in LinkedIn. Thank you for saying hi. Pam, love to hear from you.
Tyler, Andy, Ron.
Next week, if you're not yet signed up, folks, you're going to be notified of that soon. That'll be open up soon. We have a great guest next week.
We have a question.
Yes.
Tyler, my friend. Is there a true difference in saying OptiChannel versus omni-channel? I've always used the term omni. Am I wrong? You want to take that, Dave, or you want me to take it?
No, you go for it. Where do you see that question?
Q&A, my friend.
Okay.
I remember my first time doing this too.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, go.
Usually I'm the one where Dave's like, did you miss the Q&A? So
I see it. It's up here.
Gotta Josh Dave a little bit there. Tyler, okay, to answer your question, there is a difference. And I mean, really, it's not, we don't really care what you call it, but I think the spirit of Dave, don't distract me. The spirit of OptiChannel is where there's a difference. And the spirit is that omni implies all the places, right? You want to get that message on all the places, and that's fine. And it's especially fine if you're testing. But here's how OptiChannel makes a difference. I see you multitasking, Dave. Here's how, I'm just kidding. Here's how Opti makes a difference. Let's say you did take an omni-channel approach and you did Facebook ads for your client, LinkedIn ads, direct mail, email, all these channels, right? And let's just say you're spending X to do that. Now, when you do that, you realize that 98% of your responses are coming from your Facebook ads, right? Facebook, in this example, is an optimal channel for your customer to connect with their prospects and customers. Can you take some of that budget that you've allocated, let's say to LinkedIn in this example, and put it on Facebook, increase their conversion and decrease their costs and increase your margin? So the difference in this example is that you've used the data on what people are doing and reconfigured the program to speak to the optimal channel for your customer to get in front of their customer and their prospect. So that's really the difference. It's about finding the optimal channel and making sure that not only you're there, but you're allocating budget accordingly so that you're driving more results for your customers, because the more results you're driving for the customers, the more that's going to come back to you in terms of revenue. So that's my answer. Dave, what do you think?
I agree. No, I think it's well said. We are proponents of OptiChannel, and that's the category that we play in and that we are the leaders in. So we know omni-channel, obviously, but the way we look at it, just as you described, Mackenzie, is helping companies put their money where it's going to go to the best use, the optimal channels for their audience. Doing that one-on-one is easy, but trying to do that at scale is difficult. And that's where we come in. That's where our technology comes in. I see Robbie. I'm pointing at Robbie back here right now. Robbie says, all I can say is if you aren't motivated before you join these sessions, you certainly are when you're done. Motivation is a really important piece of just getting it done. Absolutely. I'm always motivated when I leave. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate that.
I really love that. Does anyone else love the behind the scenes as much as I do? Please go over to wherever you are, Zoom, LinkedIn, Facebook. Give me 2 X's if you love the back end, because I really like it. This is so cool.
Yeah, a lot of technology going on over here. I love this. This vertical monitor has been quite a help. This has been really helpful. These arms, if you don't have monitor arms like this, very helpful also. All right. What do you say, Mackenzie?
Any last questions? Going once, going twice.
Sandy says, okay, Mackenzie, if you need kisses, XX. How come
Like,
I never get the kisses?
Because you didn't ask for the XX, buddy.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Oh,
what?
We have another question. Tyler,
Yeah.
coming in. I like this. Okay, let me just read it. Stop me if this is too off topic. Nope, you're totally fine. Well, I haven't read it yet, but we'll see. Should our ads begin to be focused on other platforms than Facebook with restrictions likely coming?
Read it one more time.
Should our ads begin to be focused on other platforms than Facebook with restrictions likely coming?
Yeah, I hear that. That's a common question. You know, I would suggest that you, as a good OptiChannel marketer, you should always be aware of the other channels where your customers are hanging out. And that's another really important reason why you need to learn how to siphon. Let me bring that back up here in a moment. If you remember that chart that I had up on the screen, one of the things that you have to be really careful of, here it is. Let me pull it back up on the screen. And that was Tyler, you said, that asked that question, Mackenzie?
Yeah, Tyler D.
Yeah. Tyler D. One of the things you have to be careful of is some of these channels, let's say Facebook, you don't own that, right? Mark Zuckerberg does. So what you have to learn how to do is siphon the engagement from those over into an asset that you own. What do I mean by that? Facebook's going to change its rules. LinkedIn's going to change its rules. Almost everybody has been Google slapped at some point in their life, right? If you are beholden to that channel and you're not learning to siphon the engagement and build an asset that you own, meaning getting their email address, getting their cell phone number, getting some other endpoint, some other way of communicating with them, then you have a vulnerability there. So if you're doing OptiChannel the right way, you're constantly siphoning engagement from those channels so that when the inevitable happens, you get a Google slap, you get a Facebook slap, something goes out of business, that your asset, your customers and your prospects that you've been nurturing there aren't lost with it. Mackenzie, what would you say to that?
Yeah, that's a great point. So again, just remember, siphon it, bring, your email list, your contact database, that's an asset, right? So you want to build that for your customers. That's actually another thing is like, a lot of what you're doing here with OptiChannel is driving results.
But if you have a database for your customer of their best prospects and customers who are interested, you can use that. That database is also results, right? It allows them to build a relationship one-to-one with their prospects. So I think that as an OptiChannel proponent, you should be open to all of the different channels, test it, find the optimal channel, always be diversifying, right? So I think Dave hit the nail on the head. Dave, kudos to you, buddy.
Good, thank you. All right, Michael says, thank you again, goodbye. Sandy says, I'm not sure my hubby would approve. I think that was related to kisses. Sandy, you're welcome. Kamisha, have a great day. I see you signing off there on Facebook. Howard Larson, I'm here and always taking in ideas. Good, Howard, good for you. You're never one to stop learning. I really appreciate that about you. Paul Stackpole is here. Paul, thank you. You said some kind things. Pam, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I think, Mackenzie, we can bring this to a close. I'm going to give you the final word, and then we will sign off until next week.
Awesome. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. You've now spent an hour and 47 minutes of your life, which is really valuable to you and to us. So we hope, as always, that we were able to provide some actionable value. That's kind of my new key word for what we want to do. Actionable value, meaning we give you value and we tell you how to go execute on it. So hopefully we've been able to do that. We host webinars on a weekly basis. And again, we're here for you. So if there's anything, any topic, Tyler, this is for you, never too off topic. If there's something that you want to learn that's going to bring you and your customers value, please reach out to us. Reach out to Dave via text, reach out to us via LinkedIn. You can find us on the channel of your choice. So let's stay in touch, let's connect, and we hope to continuously bring you value and build some relationships and partnerships with you.
Awesome. Great job, Mackenzie. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.